people like me. You need people like me so you can point your fingers and say, that's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy.
Okay, we'll start with this. Some recent comments from Ryan Garcia in reference to the Canelo Alvarez versus David Benavidez fight that may or may not happen. Ryan said, I don't want to shoot shots at anybody right now. Would I have already fought Benavidez? Yes. But that's his own business. Yes. I would have already fought Benavidez if I was him. To Ryan's credit, he did already have the fight with Gervonta Davis. He's about to have the fight with Devin Haney, assuming he doesn't pull out, and he's doing all of this at age 25.
However,
at this same age 25, the same age that Ryan is now, Canelo Alvarez had already fought Floyd Mayweather, Erislandy Lara, Austin Trout, Miguel Cotto, many others. At this same age, by age 25, Canelo Alvarez was a lot further along in his career than Ryan is now. That's the difference, that at this same age, Canelo was a 2-division champion. He held titles at junior middleweight and won at middleweight.
I don't really think that Ryan Garcia is in any position to talk. However, no fighter is above criticism, right?
Right. The face of boxing, least of all. It's customary that the fighter that gets the most attention, gets the most praise, and has the most accolades also happens to get the most scrutiny. In this era, that fighter is Canelo Alvarez.
The face of boxing, whoever it is, usually gets the most scrutiny,
the most criticism, the most envy. You have to take the good with the bad, so to speak. You kind of have to.
So being honest, I don't think Canelo Alvarez is losing sleep over what any one individual or what some individuals have to say about him, whether it's his former stablemate in Ryan Garcia or other Mexican fighters like Juan Manuel Marquez.
Anyone who has any criticisms to offer up for him, I don't think that Canelo is losing sleep over what those people think. Because odds are that he's already wildly more successful than those individuals have been in their own careers, that he's already more accomplished than those individuals have been in their careers, that there are very few fighters in the sport of boxing that will know what it feels like to be where Canelo Alvarez is right now, whether you like it or not.
Canelo doesn't seem to spend a lot of time on his critics.
He very recently announced the Jaime Munguia fight.
Este próximo 4 de mayo, mi pelea contra Jaime Munguia en la T-Mobile Arena, México contra México. ¡Viva México, cabrones!
Which is set to go down in May.
People are belly aching that it should be David. It should be David Benavidez.
These are just my thoughts. The David Benavidez fight isn't to me what it is to some others. It isn't as important to me as it is to some other people because they're hyping up David. They have their reasons, but that's what they're doing. They're making it seem as if Canelo Alvarez's entire legacy up until this point is contingent upon fighting this fighter, this one fighter. And if this sentiment weren't coming from such disingenuous individuals, perhaps I might think more on it.
But look at who it's coming from. It's coming from people who either already don't like Canelo Alvarez and won't give him a fair shake, or it's coming from
Haymanites. It's coming from Heyman sycophants, Heyman fanatics. The same people that'll tell you it's all right if Gervonta don't fight Devin. It's all right if Gervonta don't fight Shakur. It's all right that he never fought Teofimo. It's all right that he never fought Vasyl Lomachenko.
It's all right.
It's all right for Gervonta Davis to do whatever he wants, at least to these people it is, because of how much money he makes. I guess that's what it is. Well, by that reckoning, Canelo Alvarez makes more money than him. So why are you so critical of him? Is he or is he not already more accomplished accomplished than Gervonta Davis.
He is.
Has he or has he not sold more pay-per-views than Gervonta Davis for a longer duration of time?
He has.
So if your reasoning, your rationale, is that Gervonta Davis is a big enough name that he can have his pick of the litter, then how does that not apply to Canelo?
It should.
So do you see what I mean when I say that I don't get caught up in what these people say because they're just a bunch of fucking hypocrites? They all have an agenda. The agenda might be that they don't like Canelo Alvarez and they never have, or the agenda might be that they're Haymanites.
They're Heyman sycophants, and the only reason they're hyping up David is because he's a PBC fighter.
David Benavidez isn't special to me. He isn't anything special. Of course, I would like to see Canelo Alvarez fight him, and I would like to see him fight him sooner than later. But if he doesn't, I don't think it's the end of the world. I'm sorry. David's not special.
He's not.
That is, he's not so special that I'm going to lose my mind that Canelo Alvarez didn't fight him. He's headed up to 175. He's headed up to light heavyweight. He's supposed to be fighting Alexander Gvozdyk. And after that, he says he wants to fight Zurdo Ramirez at cruiserweight. That if Zurdo beats Arsen Goulamarian, he wants to challenge him for his WBA title.
Now, I could sit here mulling over all the reports, all the particulars, and all the details of what it was Canelo was and wasn't offered. But I've already done that.
I've connected the dots on this thing several times already. And if you still want to take Team Benavidez's word for no reason other than you just like him that much, you can do that. But don't expect me to do it with you, because I'm not going to.
I don't view David Benavidez as a legacy fight.
It's not that serious. It's not that important, because what is David Benavidez's legacy? If he fights him, then great. And I would like to see him fight him. But if the fight doesn't happen, if it doesn't materialize, that won't be the first time a fight didn't.
Like Mayweather versus Spadafora, or Mayweather versus Paul Williams, Mayweather versus Lara, Mayweather versus Thurman.
If the fight doesn't happen, if it doesn't materialize, that won't be the first time a fight didn't. He's fighting Jaime Munguia in May in what is a one-fight deal, a new one-fight deal for Canelo with Al Haymon's PBC, according to multiple reports. He will be a free agent again after the fight on May 4th.
So you're saying David Benavidez ain't nothing special. So what's Jaime?
I don't think he's anything special either.
Nope.
I'm okay with either opponent. I'm indifferent. I could go for a Munguia fight. I could go for a Benavidez fight or a Morrell fight.
A Billy fight?
A Crawford fight. Terrence Crawford. I think Terrence Crawford is special. I could go for that.
This guy has so many people that want to fight him, most of which aren't even in his league, that haven't accomplished what he's accomplished.
Most of which I'm indifferent towards. Jaime's resume is just as paper thin as David Benavidez's resume. What, because David has a common opponent with Canelo and Caleb Plant? Jaime Munguia has a common opponent with Canelo and John Ryder.
Peas in a pod, it's the same shit.
So spare me about how David is supposed to be this special fighter, this fucking unicorn.
Whatever.
His only claim towards elitism at super middleweight is outsizing his opponents the night of the fight based on what he rehydrates to. His only claim towards elitism is he's so much bigger, just so much bigger than all the other super middleweights. That's it. We'll see if the Mexican monster can stay in character at light heavyweight. We'll see.
And he better, because if he doesn't, in the annals of boxing history, in the annals of time, he'll be forgotten.
Unless he manages to make some kind of history, some kind of legacy of his own.
So this is a one-fight deal.
One fight. Just one fight with the PBC. You wonder why he's even dealing with them if he's fighting a non-PBC fighter. Jaime Munguia is with Golden Boy Promotions. He fights on DAZN. For doing that, why are you in bed with the PBC, even if it is just for one fight? Why is it on Prime?
If Al Heyman is not providing the opponents, then what do you need him for? That just seems like it's another hand in the cookie jar.
You can't say that Canelo's still dealing with Al Heyman based on the 3-fight deal that he signed last year, because they tore that deal up. This is a new deal for one fight. Just one fight.
Seems redundant.
Useless, even. Useless is the word. Al Heyman is not even providing you the opponents at this point, the opponent that you're about to fight, and yet you're having the fight on Amazon. Why?
For what?
I'm going to purchase the fight through DAZN just to spite Al Heyman. I'm going to purchase the fight on DAZN just to spite the PBC.
Fuck him.
I think the fight will do robust numbers at the box office. I think it's going to bring in good pay-per-view buys. Maybe in the neighborhood of 700, 800,000 pay-per-view buys. I mean, 2 Mexican nationals fighting each other.
700, 800,000, maybe it does 1 million, but I think it's gonna do well.
I do.
The fight.
The fight pits a boxer-puncher, a counter-puncher against a pressure fighter. What Canelo Alvarez normally struggles with, given his modest physical dimensions as a super middleweight, is an opponent he has to chase. An opponent with legs.
But not just any set of legs, because Caleb Plant had legs. Billy Joe Saunders had legs.
Those guys were movers. Those guys made themselves moving targets, and Canelo Alvarez still caught up to them. Slugs like Dimitri Bivol got legs. That's what I'm talking about. Not a guy who's just going to stay on the perimeter of the ring, circling away and getting bullied by Canelo, but a guy who's bouncing back and forth, on his toes, in and out.
Straight punches from the outside coming in, then exiting the pocket safely because you're taller, you're longer than Canelo. Longer legs make for longer strides. That's what gives Canelo Alvarez problems.
And that's not Jaime Munguia. That's not how he fights. No, Jaime, in spite of being taller, longer, and younger, he's going to bring the fight to Canelo. Canelo won't have to find him. That actually makes Canelo Alvarez's job easier.
But what normally works for Jaime Munguia with other opponents, it won't work for him with Canelo.
No, you go bringing a fight to this guy, giving up your height to this guy to trade punches on the inside, those explosive salvos of punches, those combinations, he's going to catch you in between.
And he is quite easily the biggest puncher that Jaime Munguia will have ever faced. A bigger puncher than Sergey Derevyanchenko, who visibly hurt him at 168.
Certainly a bigger puncher than Hennis Dogan, who visibly flustered Jaime Munguia at 154. Yes, Canelo Alvarez will be the biggest puncher Jaime has ever fought. So you go getting froggy with this guy and you leap,
You'll pay.
it's going to be fun to watch. Give Canelo Alvarez the edge and experience, certainly the edge and experience and power. But Jaime, he's a tough kid. He is young.
He's got more of a work rate than Canelo, perhaps more of an engine. Canelo doesn't throw that many punches in a round. He does a lot of punch picking, whereas Jaime, he lets his hands go.
It's going to be interesting. The bigger, younger fighter that has more of a work rate versus the older, smaller fighter that's more economic because he's more of a sharp shooter. It's going to be an interesting fight, and I don't mind it.
I like it.
Roll on, Canelo Alvarez versus Jaime Munguia in May.
Tyson Fury was front row today, applauding. From what I was told, I didn't see him, but he was applauding your win. I spoke to him after, and he said he expected you to do that tonight. Did you catch a glance at him today, sitting there ringside?
Fuck Tyson Fury.
Okay, you don't want to talk about that, obviously.
Nah. I was going to say, I don't like trash talking people, but I heard him say something like, "Oh, I'm here to do commentary about these two sausages," or something like that. Bro, that guy that he fought, is an ex-UFC heavyweight champion. A phenomenal story, someone who's changed his life around, and he's just too disrespectful. So forget anything about him right now.
Used to be a time when Anthony Joshua was a lot more respectful towards his contemporaries, a lot more cordial, whereas now he's letting it all hang out, and I think it's good for him. If you feel like it's fuck Tyson Fury, then fuck Tyson Fury. God only knows how many shots he's taken at Anthony over the years. Anthony Joshua, who called out Tyson Fury saying, "I'll fight him in his back garden. I'm a fighting man, wherever, whenever, however. It don't matter. As long as we deliver for the fans, that's the main thing."
He delivered for the sport of boxing this past weekend.
Restoring its reputation, its blemished reputation as a result of Tyson Fury's fight with that same Francis Ngannou not that long ago. It wasn't that long ago that Fury fought that same guy, and it wasn't that long ago that he looked horrible.
Don't treat it like it's ancient history, because it's not.
That was literally just this past October, late October, practically November. Don't forget what set the precedent for this past weekend's contest. Don't forget what happened before that, right before that led us here to where it's up to Anthony to hold up the sport's reputation. It's up to Anthony to restore it.
Because left in the hands of Tyson Fury, the entire sport and everybody in it would be a fucking embarrassment.
He'd embarrass the entire sport of boxing, and there are some people out there that would actually let him.
The dream that was Tyson Fury.
The dream they still hold to, some people. The dream of the Gypsy King.
The dream that was.
The pipe dream. Thank God for Anthony Joshua cleaning up his mess, because that's what he made of the sport. That's what he made of the sport's image. He made a mess of it. He was intended to be this era's premier heavyweight, and look at how he looked.
The entire sport of boxing and everybody in it should be thanking Anthony Joshua for restoring its reputation this past Friday in Saudi Arabia.
I still can't get over that there were actually people within the sport of boxing that were rooting against him, that were picking Francis Ngannou to knock him out. I really can't get over that.
That's nuts.
People and their agendas. Anthony Joshua has declared that he wants to stay active and fight again in either June or July. He's welcomed a potential fight versus Filip Prgovic for the vacant IBF heavyweight world title, assuming the Tyson Fury versus Alexander Usyk winner is stripped due to their rematch clause.
That's what he needs to do. Stay active, stay busy, just like he did last year.
And I like his attitude. His attitude towards his schedule, his career. I like his attitude as of late. His attitude towards his contemporaries, his attitude towards Tyson Fury. Just tell him how you feel. You ain't gotta say much.
Fuck him.
Anytime, any place, anywhere. When he's ready, when he's free. He's found that happy medium between being a good spokesman, good ambassador for the sport, but still being the landlord, still being all business all the time. You'll notice that after he knocked out Ngannou,
He didn't celebrate.
he's still a gracious sportsman towards Francis Ngannou. He was still a good sport, but he was stoic.
He didn't celebrate.
The victory mattered. It mattered. Don't pretend that it didn't. Because if it had been Anthony that got knocked out, if it would have happened the other way, that surely would have mattered. And it surely mattered late last year that Tyson Fury, he wasn't able to get a clear win, a clean win, over that same Francis Ngannou. Tyson Fury, who some people think is better than Anthony Joshua. It matters that once again, they both faced a common opponent, and Anthony beat him in better fashion.
They actually have 5 common opponents.
And Tyson Fury has only ever stopped one of the 5. That one opponent, that's Dillian White.
But I like that Anthony was stoic on Friday. I like that he was stoic, that he didn't jump up and down, he didn't celebrate, nothing.
He was a professional about it. A consummate professional. That's the edge I think he has on Tyson Fury, at least one of them.
Tyson Fury can't be feeling too confident right now.
It's coming at him. It's coming at him from all angles. You know, the rivalry with Anthony Joshua, the unfinished business with Alexander Usyk.
I don't think he's gonna beat him. I think Fury's gonna lose.
They say this about Anthony Joshua a lot, that he's not mentally tough, he's not mentally strong. I actually think that applies to Fury. Fury's the one who pulled out of a fight because he was mentally unfit, right? That was Fury that did that. I don't recall Anthony ever pulling out of a fight for that same reason.
He can't be feeling too confident watching Anthony make short work of both Otto Wallin and Francis Ngannou, who gave him a lot of problems.
He can't be feeling too confident that even though Anthony has blemishes on his record, he's been beaten before, knocked out at least once, he's coming back to the forefront of the sport. He's stepping back into the spotlight.
But unlike Fury, he doesn't have an O to protect.
He's been there and done that with some of the best fighters at this weight. He's been there and done that with the best of them, and he's still here, still surviving, still thriving, while Fury had to twist your fucking arm to finally get you in the ring with Alexander Usyk. And there are some people who are still of the opinion Fury's gonna find a way out. He doesn't want that Usyk fight.
No, he can't be feeling too confident right now. I don't think he is.
We'll see how he fares with Alexander Usyk, and if he makes it through it, if he proves me wrong, let's see how he fares against this version of Anthony Joshua afterwards, because that's what people are gonna want.